how has running ISA helped your own writing?
It's so different. I look I look back at some of the scripts that I wrote back in the day, and even those first couple of films that I produced that I'd written. Lots of exposition. That's always a common thing for first-time writers.
Hmm.
Um, but with all the articles that I've read before posting them on our site, because I mean, I used to do everything on the site, right? Like
Hmm.
when we first started, it was me and one other person working part-time.
Hmm.
So we were doing everything. Uh, Thankfully now we have a team of people reading through all this material, but I still read a ton of the stuff that is posted on our site. I listen to the podcasts. I watch the pro tips that we get. I go to the festivals and I'm participant in the interviews. And the tips and the information that you can get from people is incredible. And that is totally informed by writing. My writing is so different. And this is all like free content, right? So
Hmm.
as much as, and it doesn't have to be from the ISA, like get it wherever you can get it. Get it and research as much as you can, watch and listen. And the more information you can get, the more notes you can get, the more insight you can get into the industry. That has changed my writing. And it's also informed to a degree like what I wanted to say,
Hmm.
which is a voice issue, right? Like discovering what my voice is. I wrote this screenplay. 2006 was the first iteration of it, and then I completed a feature in 2008, and I had my acting class perform it. And the feedback wasn't so great, right? But 10 years later, I pulled it out just to test it with other organizations to see what the notes are. And I'm like, yeah, I'll revisit this idea. Who knows? And ended up going into a contest that it got in the quarterfinals of a big contest, Blue Cat screenplay competition.
Hmm.
But the notes were all far different than the notes I had 10 years ago. But I also discovered I was able to take the notes differently, which I wish I
Hmm.
would have known 10 years ago, to not have an ego and be so resistant to what some of the actors were saying to me, to see what they were saying now in the notes 10 years later. Maybe it's just a maturity thing. Maybe haven't been around it enough. Um, and maybe, I don't know what it was, but maybe just feeling more comfortable with who I am and what I wanted to say, and being okay with that to a degree. Um, uh, Getting those notes and then really listening made me feel far more confident in the rewrites that I did, right?
Hmm.
And also made me realize that I didn't need to write to the market. I had to write to what meant something to me, because I know when I look back and the feedback that I got was that the ending didn't really fit the setup. And I realized that I was trying to write for the audience and not write for me. And
Hmm.
in writing for me, I'll find an audience, because now more than ever, you got Netflix and Hulu and all these different platforms who are looking for, you don't have to have the blockbuster hit. You can just find an audience. And I was writing to try to make this blockbuster hit for a broad audience instead of writing the story I wanted to tell. And
Hmm.
so that was a huge lesson in discovering from starting the ISA till 10 years later. And now that script is getting the best feedback I've ever gotten, the best scores I've ever seen for me,
Hmm.
and it's still fine tuning, but I'm really excited about where it's going. It's pretty exciting to feel like I can make this movie, and it will be something I believe is sellable, as opposed to when I first wrote my first couple. And of course, I thought I could sell them and they'd be an overnight hit. But looking back, it was like more of a filmmaking school and discovery. And now I feel confident in that this story is something that can find an audience, and that would be enough.
Hmm.
And whatever that means. I don't know if that's just a small theater release kind of thing, or on Hulu or whatever, or if it could get a big release. It doesn't, I don't know, but I feel so good about it and proud about it that it's making me feel more confident in the next thing that I'm writing.